what about this Guildmaster thing? Go ahead.
Board Game Geek has a series of forums that they allow people to set up to talk about whatever they want. And a lot of things that podcasts do is they'll set up what they call a guild on Board Game Geek, where people can go and discuss their podcast. And so Our Turn has a guild on Board Game Geek, and
Guild number 2600, huh?
yes, Guild 2600.
Okay.
And I just happen to be the person that's in charge of it. So I'll go in there and post questions for the members, and then respond to their answers, and make news announcements about the podcasts when we post new episodes. And we just posted an item on there the other day that we're getting ready to order T-shirts with our logo on them. So I was trying to see if there was any interest from anybody there if we ordered some extras. So.
How do you order it? Is it through your blog there? Is that?
Well, we haven't got anything set up on our blog yet, but we are working with a company called Analog Gamer that does gaming-related T-shirts. And so we're getting ready to place an order with them so that we have shirts in time for Conquest Avalon in Sacramento in mid-November.
And this is fairly brand new, is it? Is it a brand new guild, or is it brand new?
The podcast is fairly new. We launched June 15th of this year. Yeah.
Wow.
And actually the group came together to put the podcast together in April. So we in the space between April and June 15th, we planned out the whole thing, recorded a couple of episodes, and launched. So, yeah.
Did you do a test before deciding to jump in, or?
I actually went on to, and I'll talk about that a little bit in the presentation.
Yeah.
I went into the Board Game Geek Women's Forum and asked if there was any interest in a podcast led by women. So, and there was a great deal of interest. So I put together a crew, and we got started and got busy with it.
That's awesome. Now, how many conventions have you went to since then?
This year, well, just before we launched, we went to KublaCon.
This is 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then since then, we've been to Conquest SAC, and we've been to Pacificon, and then we're going to Conquest Avalon in November. We had a table at Pacificon. We'll have a table at Conquest SAC. So.
And it's a great opportunity to actually taste the different kind of flavors of conventions and different kinds of gamers out there. Are you focusing more on the tabletop gaming or video gaming, or?
We talk about all of it. We talk about
really?
Board gaming, video gaming, LARPs.
LARPs too. Wow.
LARPs, tabletop role playing. Video games. My husband Mark does a segment on World of Warcraft.
Hey, Mark.
And my niece Nicole does segments on other types of video games. She also has done segments on trying to get women into being video game coders and producers.
Oh, wow.
So I've also talked with Stephen Bonacore of Stronghold Publishing, Stronghold Games, and one of the issues we talked about was getting more women game designers published.
Wow, I didn't know that there was a need. I don't know. Is there a really large need of something like that?
Well, the board gaming hobby has largely been a male-dominated hobby.
I see.
And sometimes when you've got a male-dominated hobby, it's hard for women to break into it. And I'll talk about that a little bit in the presentation.
Oh, we can't wait.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the Is this the first presentation that you actually, did you go to some schools, or did anyone, ask you to do something like this in school programs?
This is the first one I've given, and we'll see how this goes, and maybe there'll be more in the future.
Are you available if some schools are out there, they might be interested in.
Absolutely.
And to contact you is at
Through ourturnpodcast.com.
okay.
And, or I can also be reached at feedback@ourturnpodcast.com.
Oh wow! And has there been other guild master? Is there a ritual for guild mastering? I don't know.
No.
Or yet to be developed? You know.
No, it's just the person who's in charge of making sure the thing runs well. So.
Okay. And is this whole thing is going to run for hopefully forever?
That's my plan. So far, so good.
And what's your projected shows in the next couple of months? Or
We've got one coming out that we just recorded that's on role-playing games and RPG tools.
huh?
We're going to be doing one on podcasts.
For women or for all or
For everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing about our show is that it's hosted completely by women.
I see.
And we talk about topics that are important to women, but we also include men because, you know, we like men.
You brought well, you came up with a very interesting topic that you stated that it's male dominated, and I'm sure that a lot of the tools that's used is also male thought of. I don't know if maybe out there'll be a system designed to make it easier, make it more pliable for women, in role-playing games, especially role-playing game kind of thing.
Yeah, right now I run a Firefly role-playing game.
Whoa.
Yeah, and having great fun with that.
We're all doomed.
Yeah, always, they're all doomed. We actually have 9 players in my game, which is
wow.
really big for a role-playing game.
Wow.
And yeah, we're just exploring the verse and having some fun doing it. I'm trying to kill them as best I can. They keep surviving. So.
And usually those games last about like what, 2,
Our
4?
shortest game has been about 3 hours, and our longest game has been about 6.
6 hours of gaming. Wow. And they keep coming back, huh?
And they do. They keep coming back. They keep coming back and saying, "What do you got for us this week?"
What's the age group in your group?
Our youngest is probably 27.
27. Okay.
And our oldest is 57.
That would be me.
Yeah.
We're still young, Mark.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Okay. And encouraging role-playing games, and I'm glad you're talking about role-playing games. It's really important to get it out there, and to do something enriching in lives. I figure there's untapped talent out there, in role play. Do you see that when you're actually, I guess, game mastering some of these games?
well, thankfully in my game it's pretty well balanced. We've got about 50-50 men to women in my particular game. But I have sat down at role-playing game experiences at conventions and been the only woman at the table.
Yes.
I've gone and sat down at wargaming game sessions and been the only woman at the table.
I've experienced that too. Yes.
We had we went to play at a friend's house a game called Mega Civilization.
Mm-hmm.
This game can have up to 18 players, and for that particular session we had 11 players, and I was the only woman in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I went to KublaCon 2016, and I was surprised they had maybe 60 to 80 people in the room, different tables, and only one game master, female game master,
Yeah.
or DM. That was. Is it intimidating for the ladies? I don't know. Is it?
I was initially intimidated when I first proposed to my game group, hey, if I bought the core rule book and learned it, would you guys be willing to do a Firefly game with me? And they knew I had never GM'd before, and they all looked at me and went, yeah, that would be fun. And so, yeah, it's a big time commitment, and I think a lot of times women tend to focus more on things like jobs and kids and things like that. And so fun stuff like, you know, learning a new game system in order to write scenarios for your role-playing group can be a little overwhelming.